It's the blind leading the blind.
I know he is infectious though, man.
Yeah. What to whom?
To angry people who want to blame educated lames for being lames, which I don't really like that term either. It just pisses them off more and more.
And what
Um,
I'm saying is, you know why I use it. I use it because that's the term that's given, and people will recognize it.
yeah, I understand. So it's a
Yeah,
pretty good nomenclature there.
yeah. So in other words, if that's in other words, that's what they're going to recognize this group of men as, which basically, Du Bois called it you guys the talented tenth.
Seriously,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
sounds much bigger.
what I'm saying is, the thing is, the talented tenth is not just a black term. It's a social term that's all across any society. Those are you're supposed to be your elite people because those are the brains of the community. They're supposed to be the leaders, the educators, basically the leaders, the decision makers, the people that invent shit, the people that actually that actually uh, go out and discover stuff so they can actually distribute it back down to the masses. That's the way it was in ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, you took a portion of your boys,
Mm.
more likely it was your boys, because to give up a male body was very, very difficult because the work was hard, and if you gave up a male body, that was a sacrifice for the family because that was labor that was not provided to the family, and you basically give it to the temple so that that boy would be educated over the next 40 years and he can come back and teach your family. It wasn't just you weren't just giving him away to give him away. He's supposed to go get educated and come back and teach your family, actually lift your family by educating them.
So
That's what
what
the
is this?
talented tenth is supposed to do. Go
So
ahead.
what's this bullshit about male disposability and why they throwing away male bodies to, sacrificing them on the altar of feminism if we could potentially be so much more valuable if trained and raised to be a more productive society or group of people.
And one thing, when they talk about male disposability, they're not talking about educated lames.
Oh, okay.
They're not talking about you. There's a certain segment of men that are what they want to call them disposable. The regular Joes that can't make the grade, they can't make that cut. Those are what they call them. They've been white folks have been calling those people waste people for a long time. The white poor white trash or there's a whole bunch of terms for it.
We
Common guys.
we actually have
Excuse me.
we actually have an actual slang term which is based on an English term, an old English term. A lot of our newer day now, um, a lot of our slang is actually based on old terms. So if we actually use
Mm-hmm.
the term waste men to describe people who have no value here,
Mm-hmm.
even the youth, some as young as 5 or 3 use the same term. So I didn't know that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a book called White Trash, and she goes through the terms. That's where the classes came from. In other words, if a smart kid like you, even if you were lower class, they would actually come in and guess what, scoop you up
Yeah.
and add you to their particular their class.
Oh yeah, it was, and that's exactly what kind of happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's more prevalent in a class society like Britain, where there is still a class structure, whereas in the United States it's more amorphous. Even though it's starting to form into a class structure. That's what
Hmm.
gentrification of the black community is about. About it's more about class than race. In other words, basically what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of the black community, the ghetto per se, and basically mix the upper class people in with the other upper class black people, and basically all the white people and black people that don't fit that description or can't earn that money, they're going to be pushed out into the hinterlands. They're
Yeah.
forcing black and white people to mix according to class.
So they really are assimilating you guys then.
Yeah. Well, thing is because you guys have such a small group of black people, it's not very hard to assimilate. Plus, you guys don't have that. You don't have the same what kind of say cultural history of racism that America has.
No, we don't.
It's
No.
Great Britain is basically built on class more than it is about race, even still today. Now, if you're a black guy and you have royal blood in you, then you're part of the royal class. It doesn't matter what your color is. You might be a little bit less liked in your particular class, but you're still upper class. If you got a sir in front of your name, then you're part of that class, regardless of color. But in America, it was built upon they adopted partially basically the Spanish caste system.
So where do you see the Hebrew Israelites going then? Because at the end of the day, if we're still supposed to use educated people and talented men, and Israel, sorry, the Hebrew Israelites aren't really part of that group, because I can't see them being very successful in universities and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is that maybe the regular guys in Hebrew Israelites probably aren't that, but the thing is the guys with the charisma normally are the brighter men.
Okay.
Normally, I'm not saying I don't know enough about the group, but the guys the guys of the upper tier of Hebrew Israelite are sharp guys. These guys are educated. These guys are no dummies.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Ram.
Yeah, these guys are educated. Some guys are formally educated, some guys are not, but these guys are sharp.
Definitely. I
they're
think
not dummies. And the thing is, because of race, every kid with a high IQ, every kid that has the potential does not always make it through the system into the educational community, and sometimes. And sometimes because of their testosterone, they don't make it. They can't accept the programming.
Yeah, that was nearly me. Yeah.
But they do. I don't know. It just feels like they're painting themselves as targets by joining a group that clearly could be targeted for destruction if that was ever going to be a case.
I mean, I know a little bit about them. I don't know enough about them to actually speak on them in particular. But the thing is, it is just like I think I would look at the Hebrew Israelites the same way that I would look at the black Muslims back in the 50s and 60s. It's essentially the same kind of group.
Not doomed to fail.
Muslims are still around. They're still prosperous. I mean, it's a niche group still. But the thing is that I don't see them when you say failing. Failing means going out of existence. But I see them along the same track as the black Muslims. In fact, they're starting basically the same way as black Muslims by the smarter people actually going on the street and recruiting people to come in and forming a group along principles almost the same as the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Almost. So I see them almost as the millennial version of, or the Generation X version of the black Muslims back in amongst the World War II generation, or even the Boomer generation, by bringing manhood back to black men. In a sense, I mean, I can't speak. This is just me from the outside looking in.
Black women going to
Well, we got Hebrew Israelites in the group. You can ask them.
I would like to ask you guys, how are black women taking to your group? Because I see a lot of males, I see a lot of testosterone. I don't, they're going to take a lot of things that you say as misogyny. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it is. I don't even agree with that assessment.
Hey, let me
I'll
speak
just
on
say
this.
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
As a Hebrew Israelite, black women, westernized black women hate us. Because you got to understand, westernized black women love pagan holidays. They love Christmas. They love Halloween. They love showing off and taking Instagram pictures. So now if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're against pagan holidays. So how is a black woman going to agree with that? Knowing that you don't celebrate Christmas, so now she can't go to her family's home and bring presents and take pictures and celebrate those pagan holidays. And then as a Hebrew Israelite, the Bible tells you that the woman is supposed to basically shut up and not be able to teach. she's supposed to listen to her man. Because if you listen to the Bible, it tells you that the Bible is speaking in the reference of a patriarchy, and women love that matriarchy. So if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're about patriarchy. You're about knowing that you're the king of the home, and everybody under you, and everybody in the home is under you, because the Bible says that it first goes God, Christ, man, woman, then child. Right. No, the black women think it's God, Jesus, woman, child, then man. Yeah. And you have to. So if you're Hebrew, like I was talking to a brother, I think it was on Ron Will's comment section. It's you brothers think it's hard for you to get a woman out here. Imagine being a Hebrew Israelite man.
Yeah, it sounds impossible, man.
It's impossible, because unless you're with those Hebrew Israelite camps, you're not going to find a woman. And even if she's a Hebrew Israelite, that doesn't mean that she's following the direct orders, because a lot of Hebrew Israelites are some rogue Hebrew Israelites.
So what is the solution to them? That's what I wanted to ask you. Like, have you guys got something that will replace Instagram? Have you guys got something that will replace a pagan holiday such as Christmas? Do you guys have the fun stuff?
You have your Passover, you have your different Hebrew Israelite holidays, but you got to understand that black women love a lifestyle. Yeah. Black women love a lifestyle, meaning that they're not looking for a certain man that's going to provide them for, certain different things. They're looking for a man that's going to provide them with a lifestyle. They want to be that. They want to take pictures. They want to be in, they want to take selfies. They're looking for a lifestyle. And the Hebrew is like, they're not concerned about a lifestyle. They're more concerned about living. Pragmatic.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there was back in the 90s, there was a Christian group, a Christian movement called the Promise Keepers that almost said the exact same thing. Bill, I'm trying to remember his last name, but if you look up the Promise Keepers, and I think their last big event was like 1999, if I'm not mistaken, and basically the feminists killed that movement, and they were saying the exact same thing, bringing, training men to be the head of the household again. Basically taking responsibility for their families and taking leadership for their families through, they said the same thing. God first. Well, they said Jesus second, and then the man. And the man was supposed to take it, be responsible, provide and protect, and lead his house. Feminist movement killed that. They killed that movement, and those were white men.
So it clearly can't be dealt with. Then it sounds like it's a universal problem.
Yes.
If that's the case, then I want to know, how are Hebrew Israelites going to deal with that, or are they just going to cater to a completely different kind of woman altogether? Because you can circumvent them. That's cool. It's just
we believe in a 2/3, 1/3 theory. 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. And you can look at it as what you have, the nation of gods and earth. You have the 85%, the 5%, and 10%. You can kind of correlate it to that. Have 2/3 of our people won't change, and that's the truth, because you got 2/3 of black women who just ain't shit.
Right.
They're the women who complain about 24/7, and you got 2/3 of black men, simps, pussy beggars, guys that we can't stand, that we argue about. So now you have the 1/3 of our people who are actually, and who are going to follow the laws, and who are actually going to rise up out of this mess that we're in. So the people that we are catering to is to the 1/3, because honestly, the 2/3 of our people, you can't change them. No, they're the bad bitches, they're the coons, they're the people that we can't stand. They're the agents basically the agents that were working against Marcus Garvey while he was trying to build and get our people to a place where we can have our own rulership. They're the agents that we're working against.